Let's get started. The most sensible option, of course, would be to stop associating. Oh, I remember how I stopped last time. I almost had a headache just reading this line. If I just left him alone, I doubt he'd even come after me. It'd spare me what sounds like inevitable heartbreak, and he'd probably be better off without me and his hair anyway. I've always considered myself a logical man. Why, then, is the most logical prospect the most distasteful one? Sighing to myself, I step inside my chambers, wondering if there's any way I can amuse myself to get my mind off such subjects before bedtime. And then my gaze drops down to the ground.
A note? Just who is slipping notes under my door?
What was the drama name again? It was Until We Meet Again, but like, I might just go ahead and record it on my own time and upload it, so don't go watching without me. Or, like, is there any other place I should stream instead of YouTube? Like, literally. Somewhere I can actually stream that thing? Seriously. Hate YouTube. Murmuring inquisitively to myself, I leaned down to pick up the paper in question. The penmanship is exquisite, but the words themselves are brief. Twitch ain't gonna be... I feel like Twitch ain't gonna be happy with it either. I don't know. We're both probably out of practice when it comes to dancing, so let's meet in the ballroom tonight after everyone's asleep. Pornhub? Oh my god, I don't know if I want to go to Pornhub and stream there. Why are you saying that? Girl. Bring your mask and don't make me wait. There's only one person who could have written this, surely. Linnaeus. He wants me to meet him tonight? My heart does a somersault in my chest, and I crumple the note in my hand with a sudden rush of excitement. Raphael's lingering warning is relegated to a dusty corner of my mind, along with all the court etiquette and procedures I've been tutored in. The fact that Linnaeus invited me to dance rather than spending the night investigating and poring over his duties, doesn't that mean something? Well, there's no way I can refuse. Besides, if possible, I'd like to ask him a little more about himself. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'll have to ask him about this bottle, too. I pulled the little crystalline container from my pocket, deciding I might as well examine it some while I wait for the time to pass. The odd white powder shifts around the bottom as I roll the bottle in between my fingers, squinting to try and discern what it could possibly be. Wait, what? Oh yeah, this is the bottle that was sitting on the water fountain that he grabbed? So strange. But it was just sitting there. It doesn't really make sense for it to be something like sugar or salt. In that case, perhaps it's a drug of some sort, or... You dumbass. Oh my god, Jinkies, you just uncovered the whole mystery. It's the fucking poison, you dolt. Is it possible? We know this is how men are? What are you guys talking about? He has a Pornhub account. You hold your tongue. That's just for the, you know. It's not mine, it's the channel's. This powdery white substance might be... It might be nose gold! Maybe it's unlikely, but my gut feeling tells me that somehow this is related to the murder case. That guard. I wonder if he recognized it. Is he somehow involved in all this? I'll definitely have to ask Linnaeus about it. If I show him the bottle as well as the keys from earlier, I bet he'll be thrilled at getting potentially new leads.
He might even give me a reward.
Then why do I subscribe to people? Coincidence? Subscribe to people where? What you talking about? Crazy. I snicker happily to myself, no doubt resembling a puppy excited to bring something back to its master. Guy, they are gonna have one crazy fucking party in Linnaeus's room. Snorting all this coke. Oh well, what can I say? Everyone likes to feel useful now and then. We can see your history, sis? Girl, don't go looking up my history on there, okay? Alright. First of all, why are you even looking up that history? Yeah, because you're sick too. Nasty ass. I spend a little while longer trying to glean any more clues from the bottle, although I can't find much. God, I don't like that. Don't look at those things. I don't need you guys knowing all my uh fetishes. I already read that. Did I read this? Setting aside for now, I decided to try and refresh some of my dancing lessons in my head and rehearse a few of the steps I can remember. I never really thought dancing would come in handy, but I'd rather not look like a fool in front of Linnaeus. If you streamed on Pornhub, you could play the sex scenes. I know, but I don't... Do I really want to stream on there? You know, I don't know. I really never thought dancing would come in handy, but I'd rather not look like a fool in front of Linnaeus. Although I don't get much of the skilled dancer vibe from him, despite the fact that he's tall and has perfect form for it. Girl, stop looking at my history, all of you. It's nasty. It's nasty what you guys are doing. The night quickly deepens as I indulge myself in a few happy fantasies, all while waltzing to an enchanting melody inside my mind. When I finally press my ear to my bedroom door and hear only silence, I decide it's time to head downstairs. Slipping on my mask, I head out into the corridor, which is eerily quiet compared to its normal state during the day. Kuro's freaky? Oh my god. The voices from the main hall usually always float up here, giving it a pleasantly homely feel, but it's so silent at night. I can't help but feel like some young romantic stealing out of his room to meet a lover. Huh, what a ridiculous image. I hurry in the direction of the lower level, quickly winding my way through the hall, finally emerging on the grand balcony and descending the staircase 2 steps at a time. Finally, I reach the ballroom doors, which are firmly closed. I hope he's here, and I'm not too early or too late. Sister is on a deleting spree out here. I grasp one of the handles and slowly pull it open, my breath catching in my throat, and the sound of my own fast heartbeat filling my ears. The light of the full opalescent moon is the only thing illuminating the dark ballroom, as I hesitantly step forward, crossing the threshold into the sprawling chamber. It looks so ethereal, almost dreamlike, when it's dark and utterly silent like this. I almost feel as if I'm stepping into another world entirely, one completely separate from the energetic scene I witnessed the other night. Then my eyes fall upon the tall, elegant figure standing in the center of the otherwise empty floor. How are they gonna dance in the dark, hun? Took the words right out of my mouth. You took the cock right out of my mouth. You took the cock and cum right out of me, you greedy son of a bitch. His back is to me, but the long black hair falling to his shoulders, as well as his refined and exquisite posture, makes it easy to recognize who he is. Dracula!
Linnaeus?
Oh no, it's not Dracula. I thought it was the Dracula guy we saw back, back in the tent. He had black hair too. I don't know. I thought it'd be dramatic for him to be here for no particular reason. My voice echoes in the floor with uncertainty, betraying my nervousness. You wish it was Dracula? Linnaeus! Oh, he looks enchanting! He's the first person to actually look good in the mask! Oh my god! You remember how bad Franz looked in his fucking fruity mask? Oh, Linnaeus! Oh, you're killing it out here! In response, the figure turns to face me and I catch a glimpse of his masked features in the moonlight. He holds out a hand to me expectantly, looking unusually phantom-like as the pale beams streaming in through the windows reflect off his clothing. Hello, Phantom of the Opera! Reminding myself that it's only Linnaeus, I approach him slowly, trying to discern his expression through the mask. When I get close... Not the malfunctions? What you talking about? When I get close, I can tell that he's smiling, a little. A sight so relatively rare that I find a trace of excitement bubbling through me.
You decided to finally show up, I see. That mask suits you well.
Oh, I love his voice. His words come out softly, but I'm taken aback at how warm his low voice is. Is it even possible for this same man to be the icy, unforgiving inquisitor I know? Even his normally hawk-like gaze seems gentler and more passionate, like the ice has melted for a little while at least.
Would you mind hurrying up so that I don't have to keep holding my hand like this? I am getting a wrist cramp, Varison.
Ah, that's more of the Linnaeus I know. Ooh. Take me away. Smirking to myself, I put my hand in his own, to which he quickly responds by pulling me close. As one of his arms snakes around me. What's happening here? Is the masquerade dance tonight? It's not, is it? Is it tomorrow night? Why are we here right now? As one of his arms snakes around my back and up my little bumhole, while the other clasps my hand tightly, I'm struck once more by how tall he is. Let's see. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Time for naked mambo? What in the world? We've never been this close before while facing each other, but Linnaeus is on par with Franz's height, even though he's more leanly built.
I'm going to get a neck cramp from having to look up at you for too long, you know. Damned giant.
The moan? Who moaned? I didn't moan. They moan? Now for real, this time I did not moan. Y'all are on some kind of shit.
Why don't you rest your head against my shoulder then? I don't want to have to hear your endless whining and complaining.
I legitimately have made no moans. They moaned? Okay, good. Because I was not moaning. Twisting my lips in disapproval at his teasing, I decide to take him up on his offer anyway. Leaning in, I let my head lightly press to his shoulder, closing my eyes with a soft exhale. His scent is faint, but pleasant one. A mixture of something like vanilla with dusty tinge. Probably from the books and scrolls he pores over all the time. You guys just love a man with a dusty tinge, a dusty, dirty, old aroma. Love it. Gets my little penis going. After I nestle in place, Linnaeus finally starts to guide me with unhurried steps into a slow, gentle dance. and it doesn't take long for me to find his gradual rhythm and fall into pace with it. My racing heartbeat slows down a little as my nerves dissipate somewhat, but it continues to pound despite the relaxed nature of our movements. It still feels like this isn't really happening, and I somehow stepped into a dream world. I've been trying to ignore the strange emotions that have been rising inside me since the first time I met this insufferable man, but for whatever reason, they just won't go away. I remember wondering why on earth the king would ever want to keep someone like Linnaeus around, but I think I understand now. Beyond just his keen perception and intuition, he's so determined that I have to wonder what could ever stop him. Even if his words are brutally sharp most of the time, I feel like they're just thorns that he puts up to keep himself untouchable. I have to wonder though, is he really capable of loyalty to something other than his duties? My curiosity drives me to open my eyes, lifting my head to look up at Linnaeus inquisitively. He gazes back down at me and raises an eyebrow. How can you tell he's raising an eyebrow, sister? How do you know? Plot hole. He gazes back down at me and raises an eyebrow, perhaps prompting me to ask whatever's on my mind.
Linnaeus, has there ever been anything you loved more than your job as Inquisitor?
Does Rivian have X-ray vision? Game theory.
Or have your responsibilities always been first in your heart?
Oh, I like that noise he made. My question seems to completely catch Linnaeus off guard. You can't. His Dorito chin? No, don't talk bad about Linnaeus. For a moment he looks surprisingly vulnerable, and maybe even lost, like he doesn't even know the answer himself. I did not moan. I was copying Linnaeus. Finally, he turns his head a little to the side, a misty and nostalgic look softly filling his eyes.
There was once something I loved more than anything. Yes. It was mine when I was younger, and we were only torn apart a few years ago.
Oh my gosh, more gay pride! Tell us about how you and your lover got wrenched from each other. The tender, affectionate note in his voice makes my heart sink uncomfortably. Why is he talking about his ex right now in front of me? Is he talking about a lover?
He was always so aloof, around both me and others. He'd always refuse to come into my arms when I wanted to hold him. But when I needed him most, he'd always be there.
The Inquisitor's lips curve into a smile so warm, it makes him almost unrecognizable.
It sounds like you were very close.
It's a struggle to keep my voice from being laced with loneliness or annoyance at how such a memory can make Linnaeus so wistful.
Oh, we were. His fiery spirit and independence were what drew me to him. And it's what I miss about him most. If cruel death had not separated us, he would doubtlessly be with me right now.
Well, thank God that bitch is out of the picture.
Death? He was murdered? Or was it an accident?
Stupid ass bitch from out of town comes here. Someone's like, oh, my lover, he died unfortunately. Was he murdered? Was he murdered? Like, what? What? How was he murdered? Was it an accident? Like, what? Where was that? Where did that come from, you dumbass? Stupid ass country hick. I bite my lip immediately after blurting out the question. Damn it, I hope I'm not drudging up painful memories. The death of a lover has to be an incredibly horrible subject. Oh my god, I spit all over my screen. But to my shock, Linnaeus lets out a faint snort of dry laughter, shaking his head at me.
Murdered? No, nothing like that. Cats just have naturally short lifespans, you know. He succumbed to old age, as we all eventually do.
Oh my god, it was his cat? He just played us for a fool. My feet freeze in place as I stare blankly at Linnaeus for a moment. He was talking about a cat? I feel like he's lying. Apparently recognizing my confusion, he gives me a mischievous grin, like I'd just fallen into his lap.
Surely you didn't think I was referring to a lover, did you? I thought you were acting a bit strange.
I'm starting to think that Linnaeus can actually read my mind. Kuro's mic is like him streaming next to his mom, not trying to wake her? What the hell? If my mic does cut out when I'm screaming, it's because, like, I'm using this program that cuts out, like, anything that's too quiet or too loud. So, that's probably what's happening. It's because it cuts down on the background noise. That's why I'm using it.
You're making a remarkably adorable face right now. Let me guess. Can he read my mind? Am I right?
That's not funny, you know. I'm even wearing a mask, but you can still see right through me.
Chuckling in satisfaction, Linnaeus releases his grip on my waist, and hand reaching instead to cut my cheeks in his palms.
That is simply because you're so much like my cat. A tiny ball of claws and sharp teeth, but with a warm heart beneath all that silky fur.
Did Franz call us a kitten? I didn't like that when he did it, and it's giving me bad memories. He gently pulls my mask from my face, lifting up his own, and then starts to lean in slowly? His lips brush softly against my own, and I desperately, fervently hope this isn't really just a dream. When I don't pull away or flinch, Linnaeus presses in more, sealing the distance between us in a full-fledged kiss. Rather than just one long kiss, however, he teases me with several small, sweet ones, and I can feel my face growing searingly hot.
You're trembling. You must be very innocent indeed behind that proud facade you keep up. Or am I moving too fast for your little heart to handle?
Oh, Linnaeus. My heart's just about to burst.
Quit teasing me. I thought we came to an accord on this a while back.
No, Linnaeus, tease me harder. Get up the paddle, please. My lips wander along my cheeks, leaving a string of kisses in their wake, so delicate I can barely stand it.
Well, you're not trying to run away, and you're flushed the color of a rose. Surely you can't mind it that much.
Mom, pick you up? You're scared? What are you scared about? This is the most romantic scene in the game. I clutch the front of his coat tightly, hoping the fabric will give me some sort of grounding as Linnaeus offers me such light affections. His actions far sweeter than any of his words. No one's ever treated me like this before, and Linnaeus of all people is the man who currently has my world spinning. He pauses and then leans in close to my ear to nuzzle lightly against it.
Rivian, there is something I must ask you.
My
And
mouth is
I
so
expect
fucking
an
dry.
earnest, quick reply.
So fucking dry. But like, yes, I will give you that blowjob right here, hun. I close my eyes, my breath momentarily catching in my throat, as his low, sensual murmur echoes in my ear. The soft brush of his lips to my skin indicates he's about to pose that question, and I cling on to him all the more tightly. What was that? Are we about to get knocked out and dragged to that basement again? Oh! All of a sudden, there's a muffled nose? There's a muffled noise from behind the closed ballroom doors. It sounds like some kind of a scuffle, but there was definitely no one else around when I came in earlier. Huh? I just gave some down low guy a BJ in the bathroom at work before the first stream? Honey, was he actually hot? Or was it just a BJ? Just to give a guy a BJ, you know? Was he good? I just, ugh. Why though? Ugh, I would never. He was hot? Well, okay, well good. That's good then. I exchange glances with Linnaeus, who nods, and we quietly move towards the doors. The sound continues, getting louder as we near the exit. So, like, did you do it on shift? So you did it during your shift? You're here working at the wherever you work. Because I think you said you work at a convenience store, didn't you? Or did you say a gas station? So you just took a little break, went to the bathroom, and sucked him off? Is that what you're telling me? My mind races through the unpleasant possibilities of who could be out there. It might be anyone, of course, but the Duchess's murder still hasn't been caught, and it's dead of night. Just yup? A fool? Damn. Crazy. You're out there living your best life during Corona season. Like, honey. Good luck. Taking a deep breath, I start to turn towards Linnaeus to whisper about the best plan of action when... Before I get a chance, he abruptly throws the doors open, striding out without hesitation. And there, before us, is an incredibly strange sight. Is it Dracula this time? Huh? Go! Silas, the butler, is grappling with a guard in full armor. There's a sword in the guard's hands, but somehow Silas is keeping his arms trapped. How on earth is he even able to fight back? He's unarmed.
Silas!
I unthinkingly cry out to him, about to rush over and try to help with my puny twink arms. How am I gonna help? He casts a brief glance in my direction, his eyes widening in surprise. And the guard just takes that opportunity to just fucking murder him. Long fingers quickly curl around about my wrist. However, before I can move towards the butler, Linnaeus is holding me back. His firm grip is too powerful even for me to wiggle away. His fingers are like iron, from holding a quill all day. Damn it!
You there! Just what do you think you're doing?
Did he just say Linnaeus has some biceps from holding a pen? Bruh. Like, I love Linnaeus, but we don't gotta be making shit up to try to make him out to be something he's not. But I love the man. His voice resounds commandingly in the dark main hall, and the guard's helmeted head quickly swivels in our direction.
Unhand the servant, or you will find yourself swinging from the gallows before the end of a fortnight.
Yes! Use your authority! The guard steps back from Silas, turning instead towards Linnaeus and me. His towering bulk makes my heart freeze in my chest, and I try my hardest not to keep terror from reflecting on my face. That was hard to read. Fortnite? Please stop. Even though I can't see who he is, I have the unshakable feeling that it's the same guard who was cornering me earlier. He's definitely involved in something shady. First the bottle and now this. The 10 seconds that follow feel like an eternity, but Linnaeus doesn't flinch or move, and instead stares straight ahead at the guard with an impassively frigid expression. Both of us are completely defenseless, and surely the guard could chop us to pieces if he was quick enough. But somehow Linnaeus' cold gaze seems to hold the man in place, and the world falls into a stasis around us.
Inquisitor.
Letting out a growl and then a low, mocking laugh, the guard steps back from Silas and shoves his sword back into its sheath. A moment later, he turns and sets off, sprinting into the darkness, moving at an astonishing rate for someone wearing so much armor.
Wait! Come back here, you!
When I make another attempt to pull away, Linnaeus sinks me back and I let out a low hiss of annoyance.
What's the matter with you, Linnaeus? He's getting away, we have to catch him!
A familiar sharp, cool glint shines in the Inquisitor's eyes, the aloof look he so often wears. He glances down at me briefly, only to offer a dismissive shake of his head.
Only a fool would pursue an armed man, especially when he could be leading us right into a trap. It is far more prudent to have the rest of the guards immediately alerted.
When the attacker's footsteps vanish into complete silence, Linnaeus finally releases my arm, and I grit my teeth in frustration. What do you mean the song is funny? What you mean the soundtrack playing in Chess of Blades that was playing a second ago? What are you talking about something else? He's right, I suppose, but I can't believe we just let him go like that.
Silas, are you alright?
My attention quickly turns to the butler, who's still standing in the same place he was struggling with the guard, a dark look on his features. When I hurry over to him to see if he's injured, however, Silas offers me a weak shadow of his normal smile, smoothing off his crisp coat.
I am unharmed, sir. I was rather taken by surprise, but I managed to evade his attacks due to their hampered speed.
He appears to be a little shaken, although not nearly as much as I would be if I were almost cleaved in two by a crazed guard.
What the hell happened out here? Did he just attack you for no reason?
Silas pauses before replying, his eyes flicking away from my own to follow Linnaeus instead, as I hear the Inquisitor's footsteps approaching from behind.
A note was slipped under my door, sir, requesting that I attend to a sensitive matter with a guest in the main hall. I was ambushed as soon as I descended the staircase.
For whatever reason, I get the feeling that he isn't being entirely truthful. His normally straightforward manner seems unusually guarded, and his words sound particularly careful and deliberate.
This is a matter that should not be treated lightly. A wolf in sheep's clothing is a hazard to all of His Majesty's guests,
and that man must be caught as soon as possible.
Linnaeus' voice resonates with the same icy vein as before. It's like someone flipped a switch inside him, and now he's back in his bloodhound inquisitor stare. Silas glares at Linnaeus with a furrowed brow, then glances over to me a moment later with a hesitant look on his face. He's certainly puzzling over something, perhaps whether or not to divulge to us what really happened. Oh no, I have to pull up the guide real fast. Oh Lord have mercy! I have to pull up the guide. I don't know where it be. Let's see. Speak up. Alright. Deciding I should speak up, I mustered the most encouraging smile I can, trying to inspire confidence in the butler.
You can trust the Inquisitor, Silas. He knows what he's doing, and if you're in any sort of trouble, I'm sure he can help you get out of it.
It surprises me to hear such words coming from my own mouth, but the more I think about it, they're not lies. I really do believe in Linnaeus' abilities and his dedication to his profession, if nothing else. Silas finally offers a somewhat reluctant nod in response to my words, his brow creasing with worry.
Very well, sir. I will impart all that I know, provided we move to a more discreet location. However...
His lips curl in an apologetic smile, and he straightens his slightly ruffled lapels with gloved hands.
I can only divulge such information if Sir Rivian is not present, I'm afraid.
What the hell? Bitch, I oughta slap your damn servant ass for talking back to me. Why am I at all related to his information? Does Silas not trust me? Is he planning on implicating me somehow?
Understood. In that case, let us make haste to my office. Rivian, you should return to your room immediately.
Agreeing to Silas's terms without any hesitation, or even questioning why I can't be involved, Linnaeus turns to me with a sharp look. My first instinct is to protest, or to point out how I probably met that guard earlier, or even bring up the possible evidence I found earlier to try and convince them that I should be a part of things. And yet, something about being brushed off so briskly ends up banishing those thoughts from my mind, replacing them with a miserable sense of isolation.
Fine.
Trying to keep my voice from sounding too sulky or hurt, I turn away from the other two before my face can betray my frustration. Again, Linnaeus completely shuts me out for a moment's notice, like he's able to willfully ignore my existence. It makes my stomach tighten with an unpleasant mix of anger and disappointment as I force myself to the stairs, climbing up towards the second floor. When I reach the balcony, I can't help but steal a glance down at Linnaeus and Silas. They're still standing where I left them, murmuring in hushed tones, nodding at each other's words. I tear myself away and walk slowly towards the guest rooms, biting my lower lip. The hallways seem desolate and lonely as I move through them. A part of me is tempted to hide near the Linnaeus's room, and eavesdrop on this conversation I'm not supposed to hear. But my curiosity is dampened by how heavy my heart feels. Our dancing earlier. Maybe it really was a dream. Raphael's earlier words about his loyalty to the king. I think I can see the what are you basing it on? Like, honey. Like, it's like you're just looking for reasons to dislike Linnaeus, and it's... It's exhausting. That's what it be. Raphael's earlier words about his... I already read that. Even if I can win a little affection from him now and then, is it even worth it if I know he's going to drop me the second something related to his duties is involved? Like, girl just wants to doubt Linnaeus out here. Bitter thoughts circle in my head as I reach my chambers, and as silly as I feel for brooding over something like this, it just won't go away. I contemplate heading out to the balcony to get some fresh air and clear my head, but my body feels too drained of energy to face the prospect of anything except sleep. Throwing off my clothes haphazardly, I slide under my bedsheets and close my eyes with a heavy exhale. Thoughts of Linnaeus and vivid images of the moonlit ballroom make me restlessly toss and turn for several minutes. Eventually, I fall into a shallow slumber while clutching my pillow tightly, praying for peaceful dreams. Ooh, can't even honk out here. The sound of loud, impatient knocking rattles me from my sleep.
Go away.
Riv! Riv, are you in there? I have to speak to you.
Oh, girl. He sounds in a tiff. An unexpected voice urgently calls to me, and I bolt upright in surprise. Why is Arden of all people knocking on my door? Jumping out of bed, I pull on my clothes as fast as I can before hurrying over to the exit. When I fling the door open, I'm greeted by Arden's worried face, and a sense of apprehension washes over me.
Arden, what is it? What's the matter?
It's the Inquisitor. He's been detained on suspicion of the Duchess's murder.
Raphael. Impossible. There's no way. How could the king possibly suspect his own Inquisitor?
He's in the cells beneath the castle right now, waiting to be brought before the Lord Chamberlain. I noticed the two of you earlier, so I thought you'd want to know.
Girl just came over here to break some bad news. You're not gonna get any sort of, like, grief sex, you know. It's not gonna happen, Arden.
But I'm sure he's innocent. There's no way the Inquisitor would do something like that. He may be cold and cruel, but he's no murderer.
I know that, Arden, but why do they suspect him? They can't just make a baseless accusation against someone with a high rank like Linnaeus.
Arden pauses, swallowing, and furrows his brows in frustration.
I hear they're going off testimony. One of the guests saw him rushing through the halls around the time the Duchess was killed. And beyond that, the fact that he was the one who supposedly discovered her jewels. There's a few other small things, none of which would really prove his guilt, but the king's advisors are desperate to have a culprit named and punished so they can repair relations with the Caterian Empire.
This reeks of a setup. As much as I don't want to think about it, a dark cloud of suspicion starts to form in the corner of my mind.
The one who detained him. It was the Justiciar, wasn't it?
Obviously.
How did you know?
Fucking the Inquisitor should have detained Raphael first. As I thought. Raphael either genuinely suspects Linnaeus of murdering the Duchess, obviously he's the one who did it, or he's framing him, obviously. Linnaeus was right all along. There's something foul at work here.
Arden, I need to see Linnaeus. Take me to the cells.
Alrighty, guys. Let's save up here.